Hi everyone and welcome to another Hero Arts video. This is Yana. Today I want to talk a little bit about custom backgrounds. I love to make my own backgrounds using individual stamps. I still love background stamps, but once in a while I just love to kick back, relax, and stamp a custom background of my own. In this particular video, I'm going to show you how you can use sentiment stamps to make your own unique backgrounds. I'm going to be using both wood-mounted rubber stamps and clear stamps, and I'll show you how easy it is to make backgrounds using them. The stamps that I have here are from Leah Griffith. I just love her collection with Hero Arts, especially the handwritten sentiment stamps, and I'll be using a couple to make my backgrounds today. As for the color combo, I decided it was time to try something new, so I'm going to be using black, blue, and gray colors, as well as a little gold. If you know me, you know I just have to have a hint of gold there. So let's start working on our background. Now, whenever I use sentiment stamps to create backgrounds, I like to stamp mine going a little at an angle. This makes the sentiment a little harder to read, and they don't look so much as a sentiment, but more as a design element on your project. You can, of course, stamp yours the way you like, be it at an angle or horizontally or vertically. I just think that stamping it at an angle makes your background a little bit more playful. In the past, I've used to draw grid lines on my paper to help me align the images and make sure they are stamped perfectly straight, and I still do this when I stamp some of my background patterns. For the sentiments that I'm using today, because they are artsy, I decided not to add any pencil lines to my paper, but just to eyeball things. If you don't feel comfortable stamping your backgrounds without the grid lines, go ahead and add them using a pencil. So I've stamped the first sentiment in the center of my panel, and this is how I like to start. From there, I stamp additional images to complete the first row and then move on to the next row below it. This is just the way I like to work. You can start at the bottom and work your way up, or vice versa. I like to start in the middle, and this way I have a more balanced background, I guess. And it's also easier to eyeball things this way for me. So I'm using charcoal color and stamping Create Your Dream sentiment to create my first background. This is not too bold, it's rather light and a little subtle, and it's perfect to add a bit of color and a bit of decor on top. Now, if you prefer a bolder look, you can use black ink and stamp your background in black, just like I'm doing here using You Are Loved stamp. Once again, I'm starting in the center and eyeballing my stamping. It's not perfectly straight, but once you add your decor on top, you won't be able to tell that this is not perfect. If you want your background to be absolutely perfect, you can use a stamp positioner and carefully plan every impression. I am way too impatient for that, so eyeballing works for me. Now, just like we used gray for a background, we can use any color we like to stamp our custom backgrounds for a card. This time I'm going to use Soft Pool, and I'm going to use a clear stamp this time. It reads, Create a Life You Love. Now, it's a little easier to align clear stamps, especially if you're using a clear block with grid lines. So just like I stamped the first two backgrounds, I'm starting in the center of my white panel, and by the way, this is Hero Arts Snow White layering paper, and working my way down and then up. So here are the three backgrounds side by side, and you can see the different looks they have. Now, the beauty of custom backgrounds is that you can make them multicolored. I'm going to use two more images to cheer up the black You Are Loved background and to show you how you can add different colors. So I'm using an XOXO stamp and stamping it in Soft Pool in between the previously stamped images. I'm trying to always stamp this in the same spot to have some order on my background. I don't want it to appear random, I want it nice and structured. As soon as I have a few of these stamped, you can see how it adds a nice pop of color to this background. I'm also going to stamp a little heart using gray ink to maintain my color combo here. So here's the look at my backgrounds. A multicolored one, a gray one, and a light blue one. Time to use these on cards. I'm going to stamp a couple of Monstera leaves from the Hibiscus stamp set using the same colors, light blue and charcoal. Obviously, these are not your natural colors, but like I said, I want to maintain that color scheme within all the other elements on my cards. So I've stamped several, and I'm going to cut these out using matching die. I also need a sentiment for my cards. Even though I have writing stamped on the backgrounds, these are not going to be sentiments for my project. These are just design elements. So I'm using a circle hello stamp and heat embossing it onto white cardstock using Hero Arts gold embossing pad. I'm going to cut these sentiments out using my scissors, and I will be sure to leave a small white border around them to give them just that fake die cut look. One last piece that I need for this card is a large die cut butterfly. I'm going to die cut this one using Hero Art's C layering paper, and I'm using the lightest color. So now it's time to put our cards together. I'm going to adhere my stamped panels onto A2 top folding card bases created using the same C layering paper from Hero Arts. I've trimmed my panels down to 4 by 5.5 inches so that I have a little bit of the color from the card bases showing through. I'm using glue to adhere the body of my butterfly down onto my card. I want the wings to be lifted up, so I'm only adding glue to the body. Next, I'm using foam adhesive to adhere the heat embossed hello, and then adding a couple of stamped and die-cut hibiscus leaves onto my cards. One last step is to add several gems, and I'm using Hero Art's diamond gems in various sizes and adding them around my cluster, creating a visual triangle. So there you have it, 3 simple ways to stamp one-of-a-kind background for your cards using sentiment stamps. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section on YouTube or on Hero Art's blog. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!